Do you think that life is ultimately sad? That's a fascinating question. I think um, it is true. I was watching something once of who was it? Jordan Peterson, and I agree that he was saying that you see one of the because he's speaking of consciousness, and he said, well, you see, one thing we can never truly doubt is pain or agony. Like he said, well, if you're having fun, you're having fun. Like if you're happy, but you could still doubt being in a state of happiness. But he said you couldn't doubt being in a state of suffering. So if you're in a state of suffering, that is certain. But in a state of bliss, you can always still doubt it. I thought, wow, look at it. This is ruining the little moments of bliss we have. Putting shak and doubt into it. But it's fascinating because he then said, he extrapolated that maybe based on, an abstraction of that is why most world faiths have said suffering is the default reality of existence. And that's where they begin from, because that ultimately locks in consciousness. I thought that that's a very profound point. And I would somewhat agree with that life ultimately is a backdrop of suffering. But then, as in that's what it is, it's challenges. If I replace the word with because suffering is the meaning you give to it, but it is, let's say, it is a rocky path, but your attitude is what makes it blissful. And the way you look, the way you kind of just enjoy yourself walking along this rocky path, that's the difference. That इन्हीं पत्थरों पर चलकर आ सको तो आओ. That if you can come walk over these rocks and come to me, then come. इन्हीं पत्थरों पर चल कर आ सको तो आओ. मेरे घर के रास्ते में कोई कहकशां नहीं. Allah. He says the path to my home is not starlit, or it's a very dark path. Like there's no moonlight and no lighting, and it's a rocky terrain. But if you can come through it, then ahlan wa sahlan. I thought that's so yeah. So, but I don't think life itself is sad. I think sad is associated with the emotion, the state of mind that you have. It's like that, going back to that poem of today, that tufan kar raha tha mere azam ka tawaf. That the person doesn't seem sad when he's saying that, but he's trapped in a storm. Dunya samajh rahi thi, kashti bhavar mein hai. But it is, the ship is in a storm. But it was his attitude that, he's like, hell, you think this is, this is a style. He says, this ain't a storm, this is a style. But you have to always admire people like that, because that is, people that can always see the kind of, they have that keep going attitude, because you've got no choice. One has to keep going. There is no alternative.